I'm Dr. Daniel Kimbley, and this is my wife, Heather Kimbley.
We've been married for 7 years, almost 8, and we have a daughter that is a little over 2 years old.
I graduated from college with my undergrad in secondary English education, where I taught in the biggest school district in Indiana at the time. And through a series of learning about the brain, I learned so much about what people's potential actually was.
So I have my undergrad degree in athletic training and got a physical therapy degree in Indianapolis, where we are originally from, Indiana. And I practiced physical therapy for a few years before moving down to Georgia for Daniel to receive his doctorate.
We both grew up in Indiana. Pretty small towns. My aspiration in life was to be the assistant manager at the oil change shop that I was working at in high school. Through a series of events, my dad forced me to go to college. So I applied to one school. Long story short, what happened is I got accepted to IUPUI, and my first year in an English class, it was actually first semester, first year of college, I stumbled upon this thing called the hidden curriculum. What the hidden curriculum states is that schools prepare students for job levels at the socioeconomic status of their parents. And so what that meant to me is that if my parents worked in a factory, then that school was going to prepare me to work in a factory. And if my parents were a doctor or lawyer, then that school that I would be going to would prepare me to be a doctor or lawyer. I realized quickly that everybody had the same potential to be healthy and everybody had the same potential to be successful. And this got me fired up about wanting to help people. Teaching was amazing in the beginning, and I will forever love and support teachers because what they do is one of the most noble professions that we could have. I found myself in a place where I ended up not being happy. Everything I was told I was supposed to have: an amazing partner, we had a house, we both had cars, we both had college degrees, and I was probably at the lowest point at my life a few years into teaching, as much as I was passionate and fired up about it and helping kids. I already had this foundation of understanding how the brain learned and how students were learning, and I was tailoring a lot of my teaching strategies to that frontal cortex, or the front part of the brain, that I'm so passionate about. After about 6 months of convincing, Heather finally got me to go see her chiropractor, and he shared this principle of the body knows how to heal itself. It awakened within me the desire to do something different. And so I came from this place of I only wanted to be the assistant manager at the oil change shop to being very passionate, and now I want to become a teacher so I can help more people. What I realized quickly is that no matter how much of an impact I made with one kiddo, if they couldn't take those healthy habits and bring them home to the family, then I was missing a big part of that unit to allow them to be successful. And so the transition for me was, I have to be able to teach this to the parents so that they can share this with their family members. And that's a way to take this top-down approach that I think is super important. And so realizing, through lots of struggles with like substance abuse and some other things, I finally put my foot down and decided chiropractic, I have to become a chiropractor so I can teach this to whole families.
In physical therapy, I actually had a job that I was working specifically with college and high school level athletes. Everybody was pretty much post-op. So I worked primarily with specialties of the shoulder and the knee. And I just loved so much about seeing them from the day that they came out of post-surgery all the way back to returning back to their sport at their 100% that I thought was their 100% at the time. I found myself after the first few years being more comfortable about talking about chiropractic care because he was getting really into what chiropractic was, and I was just like truly understanding more and more about it. And I felt comfortable sharing about it to my patients. So as I was referring all of my patients that were coming to me for physical therapy, I was referring them to a chiropractor. And those that took my advice, they were coming back to me and recovering better from the surgery. They were healing much faster, and they weren't coming back to me with more re-injuries. So I found myself not being very congruent anymore within physical therapy. I realized that physical therapy is very important. And I think that with a strong foundation, it is wonderful. But I found that chiropractic was the center, most important piece, because without chiropractic, they couldn't be at 100%.
So I went to a campus visit to Life University, which is a school I got my doctorate of chiropractic in. And on that campus visit, I made a commitment to myself that I just had to go all in. I had to be there. I was going to make it happen. It was the scariest thing I could think of because she had her dream job. I had a job that I was going to move into more of an administrative role. I was actually offered to teach other teachers kind of the principles and things that we were doing in the classroom with the help of some amazing mentors along the way in the teaching world. And the transition became, as I got unhappier and unhappier and unhappier, I realized that if the route I was going, I was going to lose Heather. I was going to basically lose everything, even though I had everything I was told I was supposed to have. The day that I was offered the job to step into teaching other teachers was the same day that I quit teaching. And the reason for it was because I realized that I was no longer congruent, and that leadership weekend that I went to 2 years prior primed me to just have it in the back of my head. And as soon as I got the offer, I knew that I would be stuck if I didn't make a move at that time. And I had to do it. Just had to go all in on us. So we quit. I quit my job. Heather quit her job. We sold our house in 2 weeks. We thought it was going to take 2 months to sell. We had to move back in with my dad until I could go to chiropractic school that October. And we had just gotten married in June. So we were newlyweds, back at home with my dad. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy journey, but we made it and we're here.
After a few months when he was in chiropractic school, I still hadn't found a job. I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to continue with physical therapy, or we were making the decision if we should just, again, go all in and start a business together. So as Daniel was going all in school and learning about the chiropractic piece there, I decided to go all in on learning how to run the business so we could excel as soon as he got out of school.
I get the question a lot is like, what brought you to this place to do this thing that's so different? And that comes down to one thing, and I think it's really is just the truth of how people actually heal and how to get the most out of your body and the gifts that God gave you within your body for every single one of us, because we all have them at 100% when the nervous system is functioning well. So while Heather was learning her back-end office stuff, I was learning 2 courses of curriculum in school. One, the traditional, but also how could I help serve people at a higher and deeper level to allow them to get to results that are, in my opinion, unparalleled and reproducible. I am tired of seeing families suffer. I'm tired of seeing the parenting groups and the Dana Point groups and the San Clemente and the local community groups where every parent's tried every supplement, every doctor, every medication, every meditative technique, every program, every practitioner, and their kids and their families are still suffering. And I'm tired of seeing bad advice given to us in the mainstream media about how we heal. And I'm tired of seeing people disempowered. And the reason that we are here, the reason that I wanted to create this, is so that we could empower people to make decisions that unlock their God-given potential. And going all the way back to when I started my journey in teaching, the one most important thing is that every single person has the potential to be successful, period.